They say health is wealth, but once you cross 65, your body starts cashing in all those nutritional checks you've written over a lifetime. What you put on your plate can now mean the difference between thriving and just surviving. And you know what's one of the most overlooked, misunderstood, and deceptively healthy foods out there? Nuts. Yes, those tiny, crunchy powerhouses. But here's the twist. Some nuts can literally age you faster, spike inflammation, mess with your heart, and even worsen your joint pain. Others? They're like medicine in a shell. So today, we're cracking open the truth. The 5 nuts every senior must eat to stay sharp, mobile, and energized, and the 5 you should never touch after 65. You ready for the shocker? Let's get into it. Let me tell you about George. George is 70 years old, sharp as a tack, and still rides his bike 5 miles every morning. Now, I met George at a local senior wellness seminar, and what stood out wasn't just his energy, it was his snack of choice. While most people grabbed cookies and soda, George pulled out a little Ziploc bag of nuts. I asked him about it, and what he told me started a journey that changed how I look at nuts forever. I used to think all nuts were the same, George said. But once I hit 65, my doctor told me some of them were quietly messing up my cholesterol, making my arthritis flare, and affecting my sleep. Turns out, he wasn't just making it up. Medical research backs it. Not all nuts are senior-friendly. Some are too high in omega-6 fatty acids, which fuel inflammation, a disaster if you've got joint problems. Some are heavily processed, salted, or even coated in oils that mess up your heart health. But the right ones? They're like a natural multivitamin designed by nature just for older adults. So, let's get to the heart of it. Let's start with the king of brain health, walnuts. If you're over 65, these are not optional, they're essential. Here's the deal. Walnuts are loaded with alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that directly supports brain function and reduces inflammation. As you age, your cognitive decline risk increases. But multiple studies have shown that a daily handful of walnuts can improve memory, reduce anxiety, and may even slow down early signs of Alzheimer's. But that's not all. Walnuts also help with heart health. They lower LDL, bad cholesterol, and improve blood vessel function. Weight management. Despite being high in fat, walnuts make you feel full longer, helping control appetite. Bone strength. They're rich in copper and magnesium, which are crucial for bone density, a major issue for people over 65. The key is to eat them raw or dry roasted, without salt or sugar. You don't want to turn a superfood into a sodium bomb. Next up are almonds, the heart-friendly, skin-glowing, digestion-improving powerhouses. Almonds are packed with vitamin E, one of the most potent antioxidants. As you age, free radical damage becomes a bigger threat. Vitamin E acts like a bodyguard, protecting your cells from aging prematurely. Want healthier skin? Fewer wrinkles? Stronger immunity? Almonds help across the board. But what really makes almonds a must-eat after 65? They stabilize blood sugar, especially important if you're dealing with prediabetes or full-blown type 2 diabetes. They improve gut health. The skin of almonds contains prebiotics, fuel for the good bacteria in your digestive system. They support muscle health. Almonds are high in plant-based protein and magnesium, which helps prevent age-related muscle loss, also called sarcopenia. Again, stick with unsalted, unroasted, and skin-on almonds. About 12 to 15 a day is the sweet spot. Too many, and you're just adding extra calories that may slow you down. Number 3 might surprise you. Brazil nuts. These are the selenium superheroes of the nut world. Why is selenium important? Because it supports thyroid health, immunity, and even mood stability. Seniors with low selenium levels often experience fatigue, brain fog, and even mild depression. Brazil nuts fix that fast. But here's the thing, you only need 1 or 2 a day. They're incredibly rich in selenium, and eating too many can lead to toxicity. That's the danger of healthy foods. Too much of a good thing can become harmful. But in moderation, Brazil nuts are like a magic pill for hormonal balance, cancer prevention, especially prostate and colon, reducing inflammation. Just one Brazil nut a day can fulfill 100% of your selenium needs. So far, we've seen the superstars. But now comes the twist. The nuts that sneak into your snack bowls, trail mixes, and baked goods and silently wreak havoc on your joints, your brain, and your blood pressure. In the next part, we'll dive into the 5 nuts you should never eat over 65, and one of them is shockingly common. Don't go anywhere. Now, it's time to talk about the dark side of nuts. And first on our Do Not Touch list if you're over 65, roasted and salted cashews. Now don't get me wrong, raw cashews in small quantities can have some benefits. But once they're roasted in oil and heavily salted, which is how most people eat them, they turn into a health hazard. Here's why. First, the added salt. Most roasted cashews are coated in salt to enhance flavor, and just one handful can deliver 20% or more of your daily sodium limit. For seniors, high sodium means elevated blood pressure, increased stroke risk, and worsened kidney function. Second, roasting in vegetable oil, often sunflower, soybean, or palm oil, floods your system with omega-6 fatty acids. These promote inflammation, the root cause of many age-related problems like arthritis, heart disease, and cognitive decline. Third, they're calorie-dense and addictive. That creamy crunch makes them too easy to overeat, which can lead to unnecessary weight gain, especially if you're less active than you used to be. The bottom line? If you love cashews, only eat raw, unsalted, and just a small handful. But once they're processed and salted, they're no longer your friend after 65. Next on the avoid list is a nut that's often seen as luxurious and fancy, macadamia nuts. Yes, they're buttery, delicious, and actually have some good fats. But for seniors, especially those with heart issues or trying to lose weight, they can be sneaky troublemakers. Here's what most people don't realize. Macadamias are one of the fattiest nuts. One small handful can contain over 200 calories and 22 grams of fat, mostly monounsaturated. While that fat isn't inherently bad, the issue is this. If you're already struggling with cholesterol or trying to manage your weight, macadamias are not ideal. They don't offer the fiber, protein, or antioxidant punch that other nuts like almonds or walnuts do. They're also low in nutritional diversity. You're mainly just getting fat, not much else. Worst of all, their soft, buttery texture makes them incredibly easy to overeat, leading to calorie overload, and that can spike blood lipids if consumed regularly. In moderation? Maybe. But for most seniors, especially those who are sedentary or heart-sensitive, it's safer to skip macadamias entirely. Now, before we hit more of the danger list, let's squeeze in another nut you should be eating, and that's pistachios. But only when they're unsalted and in shell. Pistachios are packed with lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 antioxidants that are critical for eye health, especially helpful in preventing age-related macular degeneration. High potassium content, even more than a banana per serving, helping manage blood pressure. And they're high in fiber and protein, which support stable blood sugar and digestive regularity, 2 major concerns after 65. Plus, having to crack each one out of its shell slows down your eating and prevents mindless snacking. Just avoid the pre-shelled, salted varieties, which lose the benefit and add sodium instead. Brace yourself, this one's a tough pill to swallow. Peanuts are not technically nuts, they're legumes. And for seniors, they're a problematic snack, especially in one specific form, peanut butter. Why? Peanuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which worsen chronic inflammation, not what you want if you're dealing with arthritis, heart disease, or autoimmune problems. Most commercial peanut butter brands are loaded with sugar, salt, and hydrogenated oils, a perfect storm for weight gain, blood pressure spikes, and insulin resistance. Even raw peanuts often come with a hidden risk, aflatoxins, which are toxic molds that grow on improperly stored peanuts. These have been linked to liver damage and cancer risks. If you must eat peanuts, limit your intake, buy organic and fresh, and skip peanut butter unless it's 100% natural, no added oils or sugar. Better yet, switch to almond butter or walnut butter if you crave a spread. Let's end the must-eat list with an underrated gem, hazelnuts. Hazelnuts are rich in vitamin E, great for your skin, brain, and immune function. Folate, which helps prevent cognitive decline and supports red blood cell health. Magnesium, which aids muscle and nerve function and is often deficient in older adults. A small handful of hazelnuts a few times a week can reduce oxidative stress and even support cardiovascular and metabolic health. They're also delicious, satisfying, and not as easy to overeat. Roast them lightly at home. Avoid pre-packaged ones coated in sugar or salt. And be sure to chew thoroughly, as their dense texture can be tough for those with dental issues. We've still got two major nuts to avoid coming up, and one of them is hidden in protein bars, energy snacks, and health mixes everywhere. It's the silent disruptor of sleep, gut health, and even hormone balance. Plus, I'll give you a senior-approved tip to make your nut consumption safer and easier for digestion. Stick around. This next part might just change what you buy at the grocery store forever. Here's a nut that sounds exotic, often associated with gourmet meals and pesto, pine nuts. But if you're over 65, you need to handle these with caution, not because they're entirely bad, but because they come with some rare but surprising side effects that most seniors aren't warned about. One of the strangest and most uncomfortable conditions linked to pine nuts is something called pine mouth. It's a real thing, a condition that causes your taste buds to go completely haywire for several days after eating pine nuts. Everything, even water, tastes bitter or metallic. For a senior trying to maintain a healthy appetite and enjoy food, that can be incredibly discouraging and disorienting. But the bigger concern lies in overconsumption. High in omega-6 fatty acids, again, not the good kind. Overloading on omega-6 throws off your body's inflammation balance. Difficult to digest for some seniors, especially those with gallbladder issues or compromised digestion. Very high in calories and fat, just a small handful can be over 200 calories, which adds up quickly for older adults who may not burn as much throughout the day. Now, if you love pine nuts and only have them once in a while in moderation, it's probably okay. But if you're tossing them into salads every day or eating them by the spoonful as a healthy fat, you could be unknowingly fueling inflammation and digestive discomfort, two things you don't need in your senior years. Now let me throw in a bonus, a nut that doesn't get nearly enough attention and yet could be a game changer for seniors: chestnuts. Unlike most nuts, chestnuts are very low in fat, rich in complex carbohydrates, which give you steady energy without spiking blood sugar, and full of vitamin C, rare in the nut family. If you're over 65 and often find yourself fatigued, struggling with digestion, or dealing with blood sugar swings, chestnuts could be a hidden hero. They're fiber-rich, easy on the stomach, and support vascular health. Roast them, boil them, or bake them, they're incredibly versatile. Just be sure to eat them plain, not glazed in sugar as you often see around holidays. Alright, here's the final nut you need to steer far away from, and honestly, it's not a specific nut, but a category that's probably sitting in your pantry right now. Flavored, coated, or candied nuts of any kind. I'm talking honey-roasted almonds, chocolate-covered peanuts, barbecue-flavored cashews, sweet chili pistachios, yogurt-coated walnuts. They may sound delicious, but they're disguised as health foods and loaded with added sugars that wreak havoc on blood sugar levels and increase belly fat, refined oils that trigger inflammation and arterial stiffness, artificial flavors and preservatives that burden your liver and kidneys, which are already more vulnerable with age, unwanted calories that add up quickly and provide no nutritional value. These are not nuts anymore. They're candy in disguise. If you're snacking on these regularly, You're feeding chronic disease pathways like insulin resistance, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. What's worse? These snacks often market themselves as high protein or low carb, tricking even the most health conscious seniors. Here's a simple rule of thumb. If your nut has a flavor name or comes in a colorful package, it's probably better left on the shelf. Stick to raw, dry roasted, or lightly toasted nuts. That's it. As a senior, you may already know this. Nuts, while nutrient rich, can be tough to digest. Some people experience bloating, gas, or even acid reflux after eating even a small portion. But there's a way to make nuts significantly more digestible and gut-friendly, and that's by soaking them. Here's how. Take your raw nuts, almonds, walnuts, hazelnuts, etc. Soak them in filtered water overnight, about 8 to 10 hours. Drain, rinse, and pat dry. Store in the fridge and eat within 3 to 5 days. Why does this help? It reduces phytic acid, a natural compound that blocks nutrient absorption. It starts breaking down tough fibers, making them easier on your digestive tract. It enhances nutrient bioavailability, meaning your body absorbs more of the good stuff, like zinc, magnesium, and calcium. You can even go one step further and lightly roast them after soaking for better flavor and shelf life. So, let's recap what we've learned. If you're over 65, the best nuts for your body, brain, and bones are walnuts, for brain power and inflammation; almonds, for heart health and blood sugar balance; Brazil nuts, for selenium and hormone balance; pistachios, for eye health and gut function; hazelnuts, for antioxidant protection and muscle support; plus bonus, chestnuts for energy and vitamin C. And the nuts to avoid are roasted/salted cashews, macadamias if heart or weight issues present, peanuts and commercial peanut butter, pine nuts when overconsumed, all flavored/coated nuts. Remember, not all nuts are created equal, and after 65, that truth only gets more real. What fuels your body can either heal it or hurt it. Make sure every bite counts. If this video helped you, share it with a parent, grandparent, or friend over 65. And in the comments, let me know what nut do you snack on the most, and did it make today's good or bad list? Subscribe for more senior health secrets, wellness wisdom, and powerful stories from those aging with strength and grace. See you in the next one, and remember, your health isn't just about living longer. It's about living better.